Okay, welcome back. For those of you who may have just chosen this video before the last one, I am doing a discussion on the chapters I have read so far in the Root of Rejection by Joyce Meyer. And now we are on to chapter 2, and it's titled Rejection, Causes and Results. As she states here, almost everybody experiences some type of rejection at one time or another, and one does not have to come from an abusive background to have experienced rejection. So that's definitely something to think about. I didn't highlight like a ton of stuff, so I'm kind of just going with it here. Like I said, this is pretty much just it's not a prepared speech or any kind of thing like that, so I'm kind of just winging it. But one of the things that she talks about here is healing takes time and commitment. And it really does. I mean, you're not just going to wake up and say you want to change your life and then in one day change everything, because it doesn't work that way. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of praying and everything. It's going to take an awful lot to be able to get to where you need to get. And that's one of the things that I'm dealing with right now. But she mentions here that problems like rejection are deep-rooted, and receiving help is not as simple as just coming to the altar, praying a prayer, then going off and expecting everything to be different overnight. You will have to work with God towards your healing, like I just said here. And but you don't have to live with this. You really don't. It's not something that you have to go your whole life dealing with. There is a way to change it, and a lot of people say that people can't change, and I have to agree that I've said that many times, and there are a lot of people that I really don't think can change because they don't want the help. And the one thing that you have to realize in all this is that you have to want it, and if you don't want this, you're not going to give the full percentage that you need to give of yourself to be able to accept this. So you really have to say, you know, this is something that I'm going to do, and I'm going to take advice whether I want to hear it or not, no matter how much it hurts. You know, you got to be able to take it all in, and it's something that I'm trying to deal with. But a lot of people, because she goes into, you know, to being secure and insecure, and I'm really insecure. I'll be the first one to admit that. And insecurity is a psychological disturbance that is now of epidemic proportions. And your security does not depend on your pocketbook, your job, the way you look, how others respond to you, or even how they treat you. And don't base your security on your education, the label inside your clothes, the car you drive, or what kind of house you live in. Don't base your security on whether or not you are married, whether or not you have children. Don't place your security in anything other than Jesus Christ and Him alone, for He is the rock upon which you must stand. Everything else is sinking sand. And Joyce definitely hit it right on the nail with that. That's definitely true. And I mean, you need to put it all into the Lord and let Him sort it out, and become secure in the fact that He's there with you and you don't have anything to worry about. And the question here is, on whom or what are you depending? What does it take to keep you fixed? Does your personal sense of well-being depend on what other people do or say? When you're feeling a little bit shaky, do you start looking for someone to come in and fix you and make you feel stable again? We should be stable in Christ, not in compliments. And for me, that's one of the things that I deal with an awful lot, because when I'm not feeling good, I want to be fixed. You know, you want to contact that friend up that says, "Oh, hun, I love you, you're so wonderful, don't worry about this, blah, 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 blah." And really, it's just a fix, because then you're right back to it again, you know? So it's like, it's not, I don't know, it's just not something that's going to stick with you. It's not something that's really going to solve the problem. It's just like putting a Band-Aid on it. You're putting a Band-Aid on it till it happens again, and then you get another Band-Aid, and by the time you're done, you've got this big water ball of Band-Aids that they're not really doing anything, you know? It's like having a leak and everything, and you're putting a Band-Aid over it, and there's still water leaking out, but you're taking and you're trying to just take care of little things. You're not really solving the whole problem, and nobody can solve your problems for you. It's one of those things that you have to let the Lord deal with it, and you also have to take into account your own issues and insecurities and things and deal with them on your own. You can't rely on somebody else to fix you, because there is no quick fix. And you really have to say, like Joyce has said and everything, that whatever it takes and everything. You really have to look at it that way, whatever it takes and everything, to find the Lord and to be able to find a way to be secure. Webster's dictionary describes insecure as unstable, uncertain. And when you think about it, if a person is insecure, he's also unstable and uncertain. The definition always says also says that insecure means lacking confidence, unsure, shaky, and unsound. And she wants to know if you ever felt that way, and you don't have to. And I've definitely felt that way, and I think an awful lot of people can relate to that. And you may have a problem, but as long as the problem doesn't have you, you are more than a conqueror. You gain a surpassing victory. And it's definitely important to not let your problems get you, because it really is just something. It's like a problem can be fixed, a problem can be solved, and then you're supposed to move on from it. But if you go to work and you have machines that break down and different stuff, and you deal with that, and it's still a problem when you go to leave. If you come home and you're like, oh my goodness, I could have done something better, I could have done something differently, what's wrong with this, I need to fix this, it's my fault, blah 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 blah. If you carry that with you, you're taking the problem with you. And I mean, you may have a problem, and it is a problem, but the problem has you now, because now you're dwelling on it, and it's something that's keeping you up at night and everything, and that really is a big difference there. The good news is finding security in Christ. And are you serving the Lord? Then here's the good news. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment you shall show to be in the wrong. This, peace, righteousness, security, triumph over opposition, is a heritage of the servants of the Lord. Isaiah 54:17. And she goes on to say that you have a blood-bought right to be secure, to believe that you have worth and value to like yourself. The Greek word for secure means having full command. And you also have a blood-bought right to have full command. And it says about, now look at this word of encouragement in John 3:18. And John happens to be one of my favorite books of the Bible. He says, he who believes in him is not judged. But he who does not believe is judged already. So that's another thing for you to think about. And it simply means that for those who believe, there is no condemnation, no rejection. We will never be defeated by condemnation and rejection if we believe. Only those who reject Christ are subject to condemnation and rejection. If you are a believer, you will find that Jesus will not reject you. And that's what I said about earlier, and I think that I probably said that in the last video. Well, yeah, I did. I said that in the last video, that Jesus isn't going to reject you. I mean, if you go to church in just a sweatshirt and jeans or whatever you have and everything, he's gonna, like a sweatshirt and sweatpants, whatever, he's gonna accept you, because that's you, that's who you are. It's like you're having a bad hair day, you don't wear makeup, which I don't believe in makeup for beauty. I mean, it's just one of those things where he's gonna accept you no matter who you are. You don't have to dress up and everything in a three-piece suit and all this and that to go to church, because it really doesn't matter. In the end, it doesn't. And showing people how much money you have, and that it doesn't make you any better than anybody else, because we really are created all equal, and the Lord isn't going to love you any differently and everything, because in the end you can't take it with you. It just really isn't important. Another thing here is Ephesians 1, I guess it'd be book 1, verses 4 and 5. God tells us that he actually chose us and adopted us as his children. It says, even as he chose us in Christ before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and blameless in his sight, even above reproach before him in love. For he foreordained us to be adopted as his own children through Jesus Christ, in accordance with the purpose of his will. And I have to agree with her. I mean, he actually picked us out. I mean, come on. It's like, you think, me? Why me? Why would he want me? But it really is true. He picked us out. He said, I want her. I don't want anybody else. I don't want her to have to do this, that, whatever, to be able to qualify. It's not like you have to show anything to be able to qualify. He wants you as you are, and it's amazing. It really is amazing. And Then we go into the causes of rejection, which we've already covered some of that. It goes so much deeper. I mean, you would think that it would just be like basic things, but I mean, if you really went into the depth, and I don't have enough time to go too much into this, not with this video, but for this chapter, it really goes into the deeper thing, and she breaks it in, to each individual thing, and there's more to come with that. But one of the things that she states, and a lot of people might not even think about, is that rejection can attack a person while he or she is still in the womb. I mean, who actually thinks of that? I mean, this may be the result of an unwanted conception or a contemplated or attempted abortion. In other cases, the rejection seeds are planted at birth, as parents who are wishing for a girl discover that their new baby is a boy, or vice versa. A child born with some type of defect or disability may experience rejection, as will a child who is frequently compared to another brother or sister. Such comparison can open up a door for the spirit of rejection to rule a person's life. And that's more food for thought. And another thing that she hits on, which is something that I also felt really hit me personally, is perhaps a child was born into a home where there was constant turmoil. And when I was younger, there was a ton of turmoil. And obviously, a lot of times it comes up where as they grow older, the children will assume the turmoil is their fault. And when my parents divorced and all the commotion was happening, everybody, well, this isn't your fault, right? I would go to talk to people. There were people that would come to the house to talk to me and everything. I had a big sister, all this and that, as I got older. But I always had to go, and I hated it. I will never do it again. I don't care how bad it gets. I will never go talk to anybody again, because it's just as bad as what you're going through. But they try to stress, that you should know that it's not your fault, and it's not. It really isn't. But when you're a kid, you don't understand that. Many people have the tendency, and it's wrong, to ignore or shut out other people simply because they are not quite on the same level of talent, achievement, or prestige. And this is one of the things that I went through in school. You don't have, basically they don't come right out and say you don't have enough money, but that's what they're getting at, because of the way your hair is, your clothes, whatever, that you could do better, your weight, your looks. I mean, there's just so much and everything, your personality, and a lot of people judge you on that, and they say, okay, well, you're not smart enough, so I don't want anything to do with you. You can't play in our group because you wouldn't understand it and everything, and it's really not fair because you're not giving that person a chance. And some of the major results of the roots of rejection and then that's when your angerness and your bitterness and your guilt comes in. I feel an awful lot of these. I for years here, a couple of years ago, I went through bitterness for I don't know how long. I mean, I was just in a really bad place, I constantly feel guilty over stuff. I mean, and it's like really stupid stuff, but I feel guilty because I just feel like I need to be better. I feel like I'm taking away from somebody else, and I really worry about that. I've always had a poor self-image, a lot of that due to the weight and everything, and the fact that I was never one of the prettier girls, in school. And you get these ones that are like the cheerleaders and the pretty things, and they get all the attention, and then it makes you feel like you're less than what they are, and you're not good enough. And it really is hard to be a kid. Daydreaming happens an awful lot. Judgmentalism, fear of all types, hopelessness, defensiveness. You can go through not trusting people. You might be overly competitive, jealous, suffer from perfectionism. I mean, these are all things that come with the root of rejection and everything. These are all results of that. You might say to yourself that I will never love again if you've been hurt in a relationship, and that's something that I'm dealing with right now after what I've recently been through, is that I will never love again, and I will never trust again. And these are definitely issues, that are with me every day. I mean, even if I don't even give them any thought, they're definitely there. Other results of rejection include the judgmentalism, the guilt, the poor self-image again, and ironically, they only lead to more rejection. Fears of all types are results of rejection, so are hopelessness and defensiveness. Joyce will go on to say that she was so defensive that if anyone ever even hinted that she had a flaw, that she was ready to tell him how wrong he was about me and that he was misunderstanding me. And it's definitely something that comes with that, and I think a lot of people can relate to that as well. Almost out of time here, but next we will go into chapter 3, so stick around for that, and thank you.